All right, so when Nike announced the Nike Mind that they've been working on for years with the Mind Science department at Nike, the hype started to build crazy. It was a slide like nothing we ever seen before. It had a bunch of round nodes at the bottom that acted like pistons that press against the bottom of your feet, hitting nerves that connect all the way to your brain, giving a sensory feedback that's supposed to deliver mental clarity, focus, and make you more present in the moment. That's where the hype started. Then it came to the barber world. Once the Barber plug posted, Nike is coming out with the perfect shoe for barbers. And that's what it looked like. It looked like the most comfortable thing that you could possibly put on your feet when you're standing up for like 12 hours a day cutting hair. Now they retail for $95. On the resale, they go for anywhere for $200 to $300. And they come out in a variety of different colors. But is the Nike Mind really the perfect shoe for barbers? So we picked up this teal color with the fade. You got to get the fade with the yellow nodes at the bottom. And we took the sneakerhead's advice on YouTube and we went up a full size, which you definitely have to do. Even if you're like a 9.5, get an 11. If you're a 10.5, get a 12. You have to do it because when you first slide your feet in, you're going to hit this foam on the top right and on the top left. And this is really the main reason why everybody goes a size up is because of this foam on top. This foam on top makes the slide a little bit tighter, I guess, for when you're walking around. But you're going to feel like you have to jam your feet in there to get your foot fully in the slide because you're going to feel like your foot's hanging off the back despite going up a full size. So you're going to jam your foot all the way in. And then when you're taking your foot out, this kind of holds on to your socks. So your sock's going to be coming off as you're taking your foot out. That's the first thing I found kind of annoying about the slide. One thing I really did like, however, is it's ventilated very well. So you have all these holes on the side, and then you have the holes on the top here. So when you're outside walking in these, the air is going to come right through and cool your foot off. That was one real positive thing. And one thing about this being ventilated, the hair does get through, and you are going to see it in your sock, but I mean, hair is kind of unavoidable in the barbershop, right? So that's not that big of a con. The pro is as well ventilated and it breathes well. The con is the hair can fall through that. And when you're walking around, you do feel these nodes. You feel the pistons pushing up against the bottom of your feet. So I'm going to press on these three right here on the bottom and you're going to see them come up. 1, 2, 3. So you do feel those when you're walking around because that's how they're activated when it's bending and you're walking. And it does press up against the bottom of your foot. And that's what Nike says it's for. Walking around pre-game to give you focus before the game. That's what it's designed for. But let's get to the real question. The real reason why we're here is how are these when you're standing up, cutting hair for hours? So we put them on, had them on for hours, cutting hair. And I must say, it's hard to get through the whole day cutting hair in the Nike Minds. Your feet do start to hurt pretty quick in these because at the end of the day, the bottom of your shoe is bumpy. Do you want to stand on a bumpy shoe cutting hair for hours? You'll eventually start to feel like you have rocks underneath your feet. So it's not meant for you to just stand on it. And standing up, cutting hair for hours and hours and hours on end, as we all know, is brutal. It can be very hard on your feet and you do feel like you're standing on your bones. But with all these pressing up, it wasn't like I was getting a foot massage throughout the day. It wasn't like I felt like my customers were pissing me off less because I had the sensory reflexology hitting the bottom of my foot and I was just in a great mental space. It didn't do any of that. I didn't feel any of that. It's just a bumpy shoe at the end of the day. That's how it feels. I cannot recommend these for cutting hair all day. So it definitely looked like the perfect shoe for barbers, but in reality, it wasn't. The biggest pro of these is that you're going to look cool. You're going to be that cool barber to the kids that had all the new hot stuff that he's going to remember when he grows up. That's probably the coolest thing, the biggest pro about the Nike Minds. Now, some other questions you guys may have is, does hair get in between the nose? Does it build up? Well, we didn't wear these for weeks on end because it just wasn't comfortable. But let's give it a little test here to see if we can really get some hair stuck in between it. So I got some hair from the shop. I know this is nasty. And trying to rub it in. And after all that, doesn't seem too bad. And they clean pretty easy. I'm just gonna wet it and wipe it down and you'll see how good it cleans up. So a quick wipe down does some pretty good results. And they're pretty durable. I saw another YouTube video where the guy was trying to rip the nodes off with a plier and he couldn't do it. So they're pretty durable. You don't feel that much support. Like if you're out there pivoting, you're definitely not going to run in these, but don't feel like you're going to rip these nodes off when you're like moving and twisting around. These nodes are actually pretty durable. So a quick cleanup, it doesn't do too bad. So we took things a step further and said, you know what? Let's try the Nike Mine 002 sneaker. This retails for $145. And these, you do feel the nodes in these more because it's a whole shoe and it bends a little bit more as you walk. So you're going to feel the pistons more in the Nike Mine 002 sneaker. They have a ventilated tongue, comes in a couple different colors. We got the black ones and we felt the same thing. So we cut hair for hours in these and pretty much had the same experience. Felt like you were standing on a bumpy surface and your foot hurt after a while. Sneakers in general, I don't cut in because I like to slide my foot out, crack my toes, you know, stretch my feet out. I don't want to be confined into a shoe. And if you wanted to get the Nike Mines to walk around in, I would get the sneaker over the slides any day. You feel the nodes more, they're more comfortable, and you're going to put these on more to walk around. These just aren't that comfortable. They feel like they're sliding off your foot. You got to jam your foot in, you take it out to crack your toes or something like that. Your socks getting pulled off. They're just a lot stiffer than you would expect. It's not the comfort that I think everybody thought they would have, even if you're not a barber. It can't even compare to the comfort of like a Yeezy. I know everyone has Yeezys, but the Boost foam at the bottom of an Adidas, so much more comfortable than the Nike Mine Slide. I'd rather wear Yeezys than the Slide to cut hair in, to put things into perspective. But to recommend something to cut hair in, I know it's not the coolest thing, but it would be a pair of Crocs, and preferably one that doesn't have a bunch of holes on the toe box. They're comfortable, roomy, and you don't experience a lot of foot fatigue right away. You can stand up for longer periods of time. Crocs have been the best thing to stand up and cut hair in. If anyone has any other recommendations in the comments, let us know. Because even though the Nike Mines are accepted by the American Podiatric Medical Association, that just means they promote foot health. That's about it. So unfortunately, the Nike Mines, not the right shoe for barbers. But shout out to the Barber Plug for always posting content and different things that would look like it's cool for barbers, because it just keeps the community going. So Barbers Lounge is a little bit different video and we had to break this down. So if you're curious about the Nike Mines, now you know.